In a small coastal town stood an abandoned lighthouse, shrouded in mystery and whispers of the past. For generations, folks in Port Blossom spoke of it in hushed tones, telling tales of its final keeper, old Thomas Finch. They said he vanished without a trace one stormy night in 1923, leaving behind only his logbook, a half-eaten meal, and a single, cryptic entry: "Galite sees all." It calls to me. For a century, the lighthouse stood silent, its great lamp dark. Brave teenagers would dare each other to climb its spiraling stairs, but none ever reached the top. They'd always turn back, spooked by strange echoes that sounded like a mournful foghorn, even on the clearest of nights. Some claimed to see a flickering light from the lantern room, a phantom glow that would appear and vanish in the blink of an eye. Was it just a reflection, or was it the ghost of Thomas Finch forever tending his post? The town's oldest resident, Clara May, now 98, remembered the stories her grandmother told her. She said Thomas wasn't just a keeper. He was a guardian. He believed the lighthouse wasn't built to guide ships, but to watch over something ancient that slept beneath the waves. The light wasn't a warning for sailors. It was a lullaby for the deep. His logbook wasn't just a record of weather and passing ships. It was filled with sketches of swirling patterns in the water and notes about a rhythmic pulse he could feel through the stone floor. Recently, a young historian named Elias Reed arrived in Port Blossom, determined to uncover the truth. He dismissed the ghost stories as local folklore, believing there was a logical explanation for Thomas's disappearance. Armed with modern equipment, he planned to spend a night in the lighthouse to finally solve this century-old puzzle. As he stepped inside, the heavy iron door creaked shut behind him and the air grew cold. The faint, rhythmic pulse began, and from the top of the tower, a sound echoed down, not a foghorn, but something that sounded like a name being whispered on the wind. His. What did Elias find at the top of that tower? What secret was Thomas Finch so desperate to protect? The truth is far more terrifying than any ghost story. Be sure to follow for part 2 as we reveal what sleeps beneath the waves of Port Blossom. You won't want to miss it. For decades, the people of Blackwood Point have whispered a chilling tale. It's a story about the old lighthouse, the one that stands like a lonely sentinel at the edge of the jagged cliffs. They say it's cursed. They say that anyone who dares to step inside its crumbling stone walls is never seen again. The stories are always the same: a sudden disappearance, a family left to wonder, and the lighthouse, silent and brooding, keeping its secrets locked away. The first recorded disappearance was a lightkeeper named Thomas Weaver in 1923. He was a good man, they say, with a wife and 2 young children. One night, a brutal storm rolled in from the sea, and Thomas went to light the lamp as he always did. But when morning came, the light was out and Thomas was gone. They searched for weeks, but all they found was his logbook left open on his desk. The final entry was just a single, hastily scribbled word: "It sings." Over the years, others followed. A group of adventurous teenagers on a dare in the 70s, a historian researching local legends in the 90s, even a paranormal investigation team just a few years ago, armed with cameras and ghost hunting gear. Each one vanished without a trace, swallowed by the lighthouse. The official explanation is always the same: accidents, unfortunate falls, people swept out to sea by rogue waves. But the townsfolk know better. They feel the cold dread that clings to the air around that place. They see the strange, faint lights that sometimes flicker in the tower on moonless nights, even though the power was cut off decades ago. So what is the truth behind the Blackwood Point Lighthouse? Is it a gateway to another dimension? The lair of some ancient, hungry entity? Or is it something far more terrestrial and sinister? The official reports are sealed, the police files are closed, and the town does its best to forget. But the mystery remains, a dark stain on this quiet coastal community. The lighthouse keeps its vigil, its empty windows staring out at the sea like vacant eyes. And it waits. It's always waiting for the next curious soul to ignore the warnings and step across its threshold into the shadows from which no one returns. What do you think is really happening there? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more mysteries. They say some stories are better left untold, buried by time and tide, but for me, that's never been an option. My name is Alex, and for as long as I can remember, I've been chasing whispers, following the breadcrumbs of history's forgotten tales. This one, however, felt different. It started with a faded photograph and a single, cryptic entry in an old sailor's log. The light went out, but the keeper never left. The story of the St. Jude's Head Lighthouse is a local legend, a ghost story told to scare tourists. A century ago, its keeper, Elias Thorne, vanished without a trace during a brutal storm. The official report said he was swept out to sea, but the islanders, they tell a different story. They speak of strange lights seen from the tower on moonless nights, of a mournful foghorn when there's no fog, and a chilling sense of being watched from the empty lantern room. For weeks, I pored over archives, maritime records, and Thorne's personal letters. The more I dug, the less the official story made sense. Elias was a veteran keeper, meticulous and cautious. He wouldn't have been caught off guard by a storm. The letters to his wife spoke of a discovery, something monumental and dangerous, hidden within the lighthouse itself. His last letter was sent just a day before he disappeared. So here I am. The ferry left me on this rocky outcrop an hour ago, and the fog is already rolling in thick, just like it did on that fateful night 100 years ago. The air is heavy with salt and secrets. They call this place the Isle of Sorrows. People say no one spent a night in that lighthouse since Thorne vanished and returned quite the same. The tower looms ahead, a lonely silhouette against the gray sky. Every crash of the waves against the rocks sounds like a warning. My backpack feels heavier with each step, filled with gear and research, but it's the weight of the unknown that's truly pressing down on me. Am I chasing a ghost, or is there a tangible truth waiting to be unearthed in that crumbling tower? Either way, I have to know. The light went out, but a story was left behind, and I'm here to finally bring it into the light. Stay with me, because this is just the beginning. I'm going inside. Don't forget to follow along, because you won't want to miss what happens next. Inside, the air was thick with dust, shadows danced, and strange whispers echoed through the halls. For over a century, the old Blackwood Point lighthouse stood as a silent sentinel over the treacherous coastline. Sailors swore they saw a light still burning on stormy nights, even though it was officially decommissioned in 1923 after the tragic disappearance of its keeper, Thomas Blackwood. Some say his spirit still climbs these very stairs, forever tending to a phantom lamp. The official story is simple. Thomas, distraught over the loss of his wife to the sea, simply walked into the waves himself. But local legends tell a different tale. They speak of a hidden treasure, a pirate's hoard that Thomas had discovered within the lighthouse's foundations. It was a treasure so vast it was said to be cursed. The whispers you hear? Some believe it's the ghosts of pirates still guarding their gold. Others say it's Thomas himself trying to warn away anyone who gets too close to the truth. As we climb higher, the feeling of being watched grows stronger. Each creak of the iron stairs sounds like a footstep behind you. The beams of light breaking through the grimy windows seem to paint cryptic symbols on the walls. Just for a fleeting moment, you can almost feel the cold spots in the air, pockets of an unnatural chill that has nothing to do with the sea breeze. The dust motes floating in the light look like tiny shimmering spirits. Are they just dust, or are they the lingering energy of souls trapped within these stone walls? The keeper's log was found open on his desk. The last entry dated the night he vanished. It read, "The sea gives and the sea takes. But tonight, it whispers my name. I must answer its call. Was this a poetic suicide note, or a reference to something else? Something calling to him from the depths, or perhaps from within the lighthouse itself. The local historical society has tried to restore this place multiple times, but every attempt has been plagued by strange accidents and unnerving events. Workers would hear their names called from empty rooms, tools would vanish only to reappear in impossible places, and the oppressive sense of sorrow was too much for many to bear. They say the lighthouse doesn't want to be disturbed. As we near the top, the lantern room, the whispers grow louder, almost forming words. They seem to swirl around you, a chorus of forgotten voices and sea-swept memories. The temperature drops dramatically. This is the heart of the mystery, the place where Thomas spent his final hours. What did he see from this vantage point that fateful night? What secrets are hidden in the shadows of this lonely tower? The only way to know is to keep climbing, but be warned. Some secrets are best left buried. The lighthouse keeps its watch, and it keeps its stories. Thanks for joining this exploration. If you're fascinated by mysteries like this, make sure to follow for more. Have you ever felt a pull towards the unknown? A whisper from the past calling your name? Imagine stumbling upon a forgotten corner of your own home, a place you thought you knew inside and out. Behind a stack of old, dusty crates, your fingers brush against a loose board, a hidden door, your heart pounds. What lies beyond? With a creak of protest, the door swings open, revealing a chamber lost to time. The air is thick with the scent of aged paper and something else, something electric. A soft, pulsating light draws your eye. It emanates from strange machinery, a collection of gears, wires, and glowing crystals unlike anything you've ever seen. It hums with a quiet, ancient power. Dust motes dance in the beams of light like tiny stars in a forgotten galaxy. The room feels charged, filled with a mysterious, almost sacred ambience. It's a scene straight out of a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. On a weathered wooden desk, a single object rests, a leather-bound journal. Its pages are yellowed, filled with elegant, faded script and intricate diagrams of the very machines that surround you. This isn't just a discovery, it's an inheritance. A legacy left behind by someone who understood these strange contractions. As you carefully open the journal, the glowing machinery seems to respond. Its light brightening, its hum growing stronger. The first entry reads, "My journey begins not with a step, but with a spark." The words seem to leap off the page. This journal holds more than just secrets. It holds a story, an adventure waiting to be relived. The machinery isn't just a collection of parts. It's a key to what you don't yet know. A different time, a hidden world. The possibilities are as endless as stars. The chamber is a puzzle, and this journal is the first piece. Every symbol, every circuit diagram is a clue. Who built this place, and why was it hidden away? The answers are locked within these pages and humming in the very air around you. This is where the real story begins. The moment you chose to open that hidden door, you stepped into a mystery far bigger than you could ever imagine. The question is no longer what lies behind the door, but where will it lead you next? Thanks for watching. If you love a good mystery, make sure to follow along to see where this journey takes us. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures into the unknown. The salt-laced wind always whispered secrets around the old lighthouse, but I never truly listened until I found the keeper's journal. Its leather-bound cover was stiff, the pages brittle with age and filled with a frantic looping script. It wasn't a log of ships or weather patterns. It was a chronicle of obsession, a testament to experiments that defied all known laws of physics. The keeper wrote of harnessing the lighthouse's beam, not just to guide ships, but to bend the very fabric of time and space. He believed the structure wasn't just stone and mortar. It was a conduit, an ancient machine waiting for the right key. As I read his words, the air in the lantern room grew thick and heavy, charged with an unseen energy. The light from the lens began to pulsate, not in its steady, rhythmic sweep, but with a frantic, irregular heartbeat. Dust motes, once dancing lazily in the beams, now swirled into complex geometric patterns, hovering in midair as if held by an invisible hand. My own shadow stretched and contorted on the curved walls, moving independently, a dark twin mimicking motions I wasn't making. An unnerving hum vibrated up from the floor through the solace of my boots, resonating deep in my chest. Then they appeared. Faint at first, then burning with an ethereal green light, symbols began to etch themselves onto the stone walls of the chamber. They were unlike any language I had ever seen, a mix of ancient runes and complex circuit diagrams. The journal had described this, calling it the language of the lighthouse. The keeper believed that by deciphering it, he could gain full control over its power to rewrite moments, to step outside the linear flow of his own life. The mist outside thickened, pressing against the glass, and I realized with a chilling certainty that I was no longer just an observer. I was part of the experiment now. The journal fell from my hands, its pages fluttering open to the final terrifying entry. It read, "The lighthouse is alive." It showed me glimpses, moments that haven't happened yet, and others that never were. But there is a price. It demands an anchor, a consciousness to navigate the currents of time. It has chosen. As the pulsating light intensified, flooding the room with blinding energy, I understood. The keeper wasn't gone. He was the lighthouse. And now it was awake again, looking for its next keeper. I have to find a way out, but every door, every window seems to lead back to this single terrifying moment. Stick around and follow the journey if you want to see what happens next. Thanks for watching. They say the truth will set you free. But what if the truth could get you killed? What if it's buried deep beneath layers of lies, guarded by shadows that hunger for silence? For investigative journalist Alex Vance, this wasn't just a story, it was a labyrinth. A conspiracy so vast it threatened to swallow him whole. He had followed the breadcrumbs, the whispers in dark alleys, the cryptic files slipped under his door. Each clue led him deeper into the heart of a powerful organization, a place where secrets were currency and dissent was a death sentence. He found it, the chamber, the epicenter of it all. Not a room of steel and concrete, but a digital fortress, a server room pulsating with forbidden knowledge. As he downloaded the final piece of the puzzle, the system fought back. Alarms blared, not with sound, but with silent digital screams. The shadows weren't just security guards. They were phantoms in the code, firewalls morphing into monstrous shapes, hunting him through the virtual corridors. The air crackled with a strange energy, sparks of corrupted data flying like shrapnel. His own reflection in the polished floor seemed to stretch and distort, a harbinger of the digital abyss trying to claim him, almost trapped forever. It was a race against time, a desperate sprint through a collapsing reality. With every keystroke, every frantic click, he fought back. He wasn't just a journalist anymore. He was a digital warrior, armed with courage and a burning need for justice. The shadows lunged, their tendrils reaching, trying to sever his connection, to wipe him from existence. But he was faster. With the final byte of data secured, he initiated the escape protocol. The chamber imploded behind him, a supernova of light and code. He made it out back to the world of flesh and bone, carrying the secret safely with him. The world thinks it knows the truth, but soon they'll know his. Thanks for watching. If you love stories of courage against all odds, make sure to subscribe. Have you ever heard a story that sends a chill down your spine, one that clings to you long after the telling? Well, pull up a chair, because tonight we're journeying to the coast, to a place where the sea holds its breath and the fog whispers secrets of the past. Imagine a tall, solitary lighthouse, standing guard over a restless ocean. For generations, its beam was a promise of safety, a beacon guiding sailors home through treacherous storms. The lighthouse keeper, a man named Silas, was as much a part of this coastline as the jagged rocks themselves. He knew every current, every shift in the wind. His life was the light, and the light was his life. But one night, a fog rolled in, thicker than any the town had ever seen. It swallowed the land and the sea, muffling every sound except the mournful clang of the warning bell. The next morning, when the fog finally lifted, the lighthouse was dark. Silas was gone, vanished without a trace. No footprints were found on the spiral staircase, no signs of a struggle. The lamp was cold, its oil full. It was as if he'd simply dissolved into the mist. The townsfolk searched for weeks, their boats cutting through the waves, their calls echoing against the cliffs. But the sea gave back nothing. Years turned into decades. The lighthouse remained empty, a silent monument to the man who had disappeared, but the story didn't end there. On foggy nights, sailors and locals swear they see it, a faint ethereal glow pulsing from the top of the tower. It's not the bright, sweeping beam of before, but a soft, gentle light, like a candle flickering in a distant window. Some say it's Silas, still watching over the coast, his spirit bound to the lantern he tended so faithfully. They say he's a ghostly guardian, a lost soul forever looking for a ship that will never arrive. The old fishermen in town, they don't talk about it much. But if you watch them when a thick fog rolls in, you'll see them cast a nervous glance towards the silent tower. They say you can sometimes hear a soft whispering on the wind, a voice carried from the lighthouse, speaking of forgotten sea shanties and the deep, dark secrets of the ocean. Though the lighthouse now stands silent, the town still whispers. Some mysteries are never meant to be solved. What do you think happened to Silas? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more mysteries that linger in the shadows.